If you were given the chance for tens of thousands of dollars in exchange for surviving a version of Russian roulette, would you dare to try it? For some, they are so desperate that they don't have a choice. This is the story of Buckshot Roulette. Jeff takes a deep breath. He's in a dirty bathroom. The word afraid is scrawled onto the bathroom mirror. He's here because he needs money. Jeff gathers his nerves and walks out of the bathroom. The heavy bass of the nightclub below rings in his ears, his blood vibrating from the music. A man stares off the balcony of the upper level, never taking his eyes off the below. He smokes, the secondhand smoke lingering in the air. Jeff walks past him to another door and slowly opens it. He walks in, the door closing behind him. Inside the room is a long table and a variety of machines and displays in the room. Someone sits in the shadows on the opposite end of the table. There's a document on it. "Please sign the waiver," comes a voice from the other end. "General release of liability," the waiver says. Jeff chuckles to himself. This is meant to make it seem more official. He doesn't even need to read it. He already heard the rumors of this game. A glorified version of Russian roulette, where if you win, you take home a lot of money. And Jeff, like everyone who else comes through, is in terrible need of monetary gain. Jeff signs the waiver. It's really just a formality of chaos. Everything about this is extremely illegal. The dealer across looks grotesque and almost deformed, as if he himself has taken a lot of bullet hits. Or maybe he has something paranormal altogether. He's then hooked up to the machine in the rooms that are prepared to perform defibrillation and blood transfusions in order to help him survive when the buckshots hit. The panel to the right lights up with the dealer and Jeff's names. 2 lightning bolt icons appear underneath. "We start with 2 lives each," the dealer says. "The first roulette is 1 live round and 2 blanks. The shells go inside the shotgun in an unknown and random order." The dealer places the loaded shotgun onto the table. "If you shoot yourself with a blank, it skips the other person's turn. Choose wisely," the dealer says, the dim lights barely showcasing an evil smirk in the darkness. Jeff picks up the shotgun. The wooden stock surprisingly smooth and cool in his hands. His hands tremble. He does the math. The statistics don't lie. A 66% chance of a blank round. He should aim it on himself. Jeff turns the gun onto himself, and through the shaking of his hands, and through what seems like an eternity, manages to squeeze the trigger. The live round explodes into Jeff. He fades to black. Moments later, he's shocked back to life with the defibrillator. He looks over to the panel, breathing rapidly. 1 life remaining. At this point, the gun has nothing but blank rounds left. The dealer uses them up. "Once all rounds have been spent, a new random amount of rounds comes into play," instructs the dealer. Jeff and the dealer continue to play. Jeff calculates the statistics of every turn. It's still all luck-based, but making decisions based on statistics is the only way he can keep his cool. The two continue to play the game until Jeff manages to deplete the dealer's lives. A counter on the display progresses from 1 to 2, and the dealer gets back up. "Now we bring in the rest of the rules," he says. A box emerges from under the table. Jeff and the dealer are given a random assortment of items, and the dealer explains the new rules. Destroying a magnifying glass allows you to look in the chamber and see what the bullet is. Drinking a beer allows you to rack the shotgun and remove the current chamber round. Smoking a cigarette will add 1 charge to your defibrillator. The handcuffs skip the other player's turn. The knife saws off the edge of the shotgun, taking 2 charges of the defibrillator to bring you back to the world of the living. Jeff realizes this game is now way more than just playing the probabilities in one's favor. It's now strategy and a luck of who has what items. He was not aware the game would be this complex. While playing, Jeff notices that even when the end of the shotgun is sawed off, it magically restores itself before being used again. Jeff realizes the game is more haunted than he could have ever imagined. While removing his random items from the box, he finds a discarded and bloody waiver. It's signed by God. What does this mean? It seems to imply that not only did God play this game, but he also lost. Does this simply go to say that God doesn't exist in this room, and it's just Jeff versus the dealer? Or is it even more sinister than that, and that God played this game, lost, and now God himself is dead? The two continue to play the strategic game until Jeff wins again, and the counter on the display moves from 2 to a skull. "The final round is true death," says the dealer, returning to the table after being shot previously. "Once one of us runs out of charges, the defibrillator power is cut, and nothing will save you." The dealer trails off. A final round is played, and even though Jeff mentally calculates the statistics of his current moves and the next probable future moves, he unfortunately succumbs to a streak of bad luck. He watches as the display machine automatically cuts his defibrillator power source. When the dealer fires the final live round into Jeff, he appears almost instantaneously somewhere else. The sky is a bright white. He stands before a walled area with a strange metal gate door in the middle. He walks through it. Large dark spikes jut from the ground in various directions. He hears wailing cries coming all around him. He feels sharp unease in his very core, almost as if the spikes themselves are ready to impale his very soul. Is this the afterlife? He whispers to himself. Jeff's story didn't end too well, but he's not the first person or the last person to play this devil's game. So what about someone else? This is Bill. Bill found himself also in monetary trouble and ready to risk it all for the opportunity of money. Bill was less calculating when he played against the dealer. He had nothing to lose and played more aggressively, knowing that even when the statistics were in your favor, you could still be unlucky. So when it came down to sudden death, it was the dealer's lifeline that was cut, rather than his own. When Bill took the fate-defining shot, the dealer fell back into the darkness. Bill could still see soft, glowing red eyes in the shadows. Bill couldn't have been the first person to ever win the game. Were those glowing eyes in the darkness the dealer? Is the dealer some sort of paranormal entity that returns to life no matter what to play this deadly game of chance? When Bill wins, a briefcase is presented to him from the darkness, full of bands of $50 bills. Bill grabs the briefcase and the shotgun as a souvenir and leaves the club. So the dealer is likely some form of paranormal being. He can never leave the club, and perhaps his sole job is to offer souls a chance at a large sum of money, or their soul in some form of damnation for eternity. Perhaps he could be the devil himself, or maybe he's the representation of addiction, a personification of how gambling grips you and forces you to keep playing against the house, because the payoff at the end trumps any and all losses that accumulate before it, even if mathematically it never makes sense. But what about the afterlife? Various religions teach us that the afterlife is a pleasantry, a vast expanse of happiness and warmth. Was Jeff's soul collected to the dark place we saw because he played the game? Is your soul being sent to this place a cost of playing the game, whether you win or lose? Or could it be because God himself played the game, and when he lost, Jeff and everyone else lost the ability to go to heaven, and instead end up in some form of limbo afterlife that's cold, where spikes protrude from the ground, and souls are left here, collected by the dealer? Or it could simply be hell itself.